Charming Thomas Morgan.
Thank you very much, Martin. So as I understand it, the first of the heats of the Championship single sculls. Am I correct in saying that, Zoe?
That is correct.
First one on the course, so it's Gloucester Hartbury, Bryony Lawrence on the Berkshire station and Thames Tradesman on the Buckinghamshire station. I'm just running through my notes to get the names of the Thames Tradesman sculler, or the name of the Thames Tradesman sculler. And quite typically I don't have it, but I know it's the surname is Campbell.
We also seem to have the race results coming up on Twitter now. So if you want to see some of the earlier race results, you can also have a look on the Henley Women's Regatta Twitter page. It's at Henley W Regatta. So you can see the race results. They'll be coming up there now throughout the afternoon, hopefully.
So I do apologise. It's Phoebe Campbell from Thames Tradesman and Bryony Lawrence from Gloucester Hartbury. Bryony, obviously a former junior world international who's actually won the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup at Henley Royal Regatta. So she's quite a special athlete. She finished 8th in the women's lightweight category at the senior GB trials. And at the moment, about 3/4 of a length up on Phoebe. I'm sure at this stage of the race, she'll be looking to not only maintain that margin, but if she can, lengthen it out.
Gloucester Hartbury have had a very impressive squad going, especially with their junior women's programme. So good to see that develop out of the junior quads and into some of the senior singles events as well. Looks like about a length, just a little bit of clear water perhaps for Lawrence from Gloucester Hartbury.
Yeah, I'd say a length is fair. Yeah, you're completely right. Zoe, Gloucester, obviously 4 times winners of the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup at Henley Royal. I believe Martin Unsworth's daughter Jo was in the crew that won it in the first year in 2012, but Gloucester Hartbury have had complete control over that event since 2014. They haven't entered a crew this year, which means that the title will definitely be going elsewhere. But in the race that's on our screen, it is Bryony in control. I think she's just trying to move ahead, trying to get clear water ahead of Phoebe from Thames Tradesman. But we've got another race on the course now. It's the second heat of the Championship single sculls, and it's Sydney University on the Berkshire station. And she's competing against Exeter University on the Buckinghamshire station.
Sculler from Exeter University there on your screen. Just looking to have a little bit of trouble, perhaps from some of the wash that's coming down the course towards her as she moves up towards us at the commentary box. Now she seems to have come a little bit more onto the flat, looking more confident in her style there. She is sitting just about a length down, I believe, on the sculler from Sydney University.
Yeah, so this sculler from Exeter, quite a lot of pedigree. She started as a novice at Exeter and has been part of the GB trialling system for about a year now, reaching GB final trials this year. And she stroked Exeter's first date at a women's head and finished 13th. So a very capable athlete indeed, and showing that on the Henley course, although at the moment it's this sculler from Australia, Sydney University, who has the lead. I think looking at the two girls, just a bit more horsepower on board the Sydney boat. A bit more of a punch through the water. You can see the way she comes to the finish. No quarter given, but I expect there to be a lot of support for Exeter as she makes her way down the course. Of course, there's always that classic question: if you make the trip from Australia, I imagine you'll fancy yourself as pretty good. And they're moving them thick and fast now. Third heat of the Championship single sculls is underway. And a name I'm very familiar with on the Berkshire station, Catherine Eriksson from Oxford University Women's Boat Club. She was president for Oxford this year. And on the Buckinghamshire Station, Tideway Scullers School. And that is Katie Wilkinson-Feller. So as you expect at championship level, 2 very, very capable athletes indeed.
Kate's a very interesting sculler.
Which Kate?
Oh, sorry. Kate Erickson from Oxford University Women's Boat Club. She learnt to row at Oxford, previous background in equestrian, but broke her back. And this was one of the things she decided she had to try when she came to Oxford. And here she is now, having led the Oxford University women's crew in the boat race, and also will be one of the team that's coming to Zambia with me in the summer. We're going to be rowing 900 kilometres down the Kafue River as part of the Row Zambezi expedition, raising money for clean water. So this is her training for our 900 kilometre expedition. At the moment, it seems to be the sculler from Tideway Scullers with about a length lead over Ericsson from Oxford.
Yeah, so Wilkinson-Feller, Katie from Scullers. She raced in the Tideway Scullers first date that finished 10th at the Women's Head this year and performed well at GB National Team Assessments, finishing 5th at the first assessment in November and then placing 7th overall at the Scullers Head, which, if anyone has raced at the Scullers Head who is listening, you can attest to the fact that it is an incredibly challenging race, a proper test of mental fortitude. So Katie Wilkinson-Feller, I'm having to say her full surname every time so that she's not confused with Kate Erickson from Oxford. But she's got plenty of pedigree and a very capable athlete. If you watch her come past here, nice long stroke, engaging the legs before the shoulders come through. Got to know Kate Erickson very well through the boat race season this year, having worked quite closely with Oxford University. A proper athlete, a proper competitor. She was devastated when Oxford lost the boat race this year. But I think she did a fantastic job in trying circumstances. But at the moment, it's looking like Wilkinson-Feller of Tideway Sculler School out there on the Buckinghamshire Station, the bottom of your picture as we look at those phenomenal drone shots. Has about 2.5, maybe 3 lengths lead. So it's going to take a monumental effort from Ericsson to overturn that deficit. I suppose the only thing you can counter with, Zoe, is that in a single, truly anything can happen.
I mean, I think, yeah, anything can happen at any Henley regatta, but you never know in the single. But you can see the sculler here from Tideway Scullers School looking very confident, very long under the water, as she sits a good few lengths up on Ericsson from Oxford University. Still rowing an aggressive stroke. Looking clean.
I think Kate Erickson just looks a little bit shorter in the water, doesn't she? Not quite as much punch through the middle of the stroke.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the fourth heat of the Championship Single Sculls is now underway. It's Wallingford Rowing Club on the Berkshire Station and Capital Lakes Rowing Club from Australia on the Buckinghamshire Station. This is Kara Kraskowiak. Now, that might have been a total botching of the pronunciation, but I've been told that Kara is one to look out for. So she's completing the last year of her double degree at the Australian National University, and she won last year's Australian University Championships in both the single and double sculls, and I know she's doubling up to race at Henley Royal in a few weeks' time, so she obviously fancies herself as having a little bit of speed, and I think in the early stages of this single sculls heat, she might well be making good on that promise. Hard to tell at this stage, of course. We're sort of focused on one athlete, which happens to be Kara on the Buckinghamshire Station.
Like you say, a long way to come if you're not backing yourself to go far in the competition. Looks like she's established an early lead over Duff from Wallingford Rowing Club.
This is Christy Duff. of Wallingford Rowing Club. Another athlete who has featured in the GB rowing team assessments. And actually, a lightweight. As I understand it, she finished 10th in the November assessments, racing for Wallingford, just a few seconds ahead of her teammate Flo Pickles, who I believe is also in action this weekend. But at the moment, it is Cara from Australia, certainly backing herself here, Zoe, who has control of this race at the early stages, about 2 lengths lead. She actually came 5th at the World Under-23 Championships in 2016, so she is no mug. She is an exceptionally talented sculler. And coming past us, keeping the rate nice and high, the intensity is still there. Don't think she considers this race over. Certainly not with the class that Christy Duff from Wallingford has. But I think I would describe that as in control there from the Capital Lakes sculler.
Yep, the Australian sculler definitely looks like she's confident in her position. She's pretty comfortable in her style. Just keeping an eye on Christy Duff from Wallingford behind her. Sorry for that shot there from the drone spinning round. Gave me a bit of a shock. But you can see there on the right of your picture, the sculler from Australia.
Stretched right out.
Stretched her lead right out now over Duff from Wallingford on the left of your picture.
I mean, the race looked quite well poised in the opening exchanges, but obviously a devastating middle 500 metres from Cara Kraskowiak. And again, please correct me if I'm botching that pronunciation, but she is